We're going to talk about the president's infrastructure bill now. He's signing that $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill into law today. In the White House, already promising grants to ports totaling $240 million just in the next 45 days. But is that going to make any difference ahead of the holidays and the ongoing supply chain crisis?
Joining us is the executive director of the Maryland Port Administration, Bill Doyle. Mr. Doyle, thank you for joining us this morning or this afternoon. And, you know, President Biden, he met with the CEOs of Target, Walmart, UPS, and FedEx, some of the biggest companies in the country. And he's pushing these grants out to the ports. He visited the Port of Baltimore, which hasn't had the same bottleneck issues. So do you think these steps are going to resolve the crisis? And what will you do with that money?
Oh, I think it's going to be very helpful. You know, the Port of Baltimore, we're doing well here, but we are an aggressive port that goes after the grants and grant programs through all legislation. This is more money coming into the system. And with the state and our private sector partners in the P3, like Ports America Chesapeake, we're going to go after more, and we're going to do environmental things, like, for instance, setting up our feeder electrical lines. Those cranes behind me, those are fully electrical cranes. They're not running off of diesel. So we're going to need that infrastructure in place, and then we've got dredging and the beneficial use of dredge material for the environment. So there's a lot of good things that are coming down, and I can't wait for this thing to be signed today.
You're clearly excited here, and a lot of folks are listening to you talking about cranes and dredging. And break this down for folks simply. The Port of Baltimore, it might go in one ear and out the other, but there are things that are sitting in your driveway or maybe in your home right now that had to go through the Port of Baltimore. Put in context for us just what types of things are coming through an all-important port like Port of Baltimore.
Yeah, you got it. So there's two things, all right? Number one, you got the containers that come in through the port, and that's your retail items. That's your fashion garments. I wouldn't be surprised if we have the Michael Strahan line coming through this port.
I like it.
For J.C. Penney. So,
I like it.
So those are your containerized goods. Yeah, and that's your retails. So what we've had happen in the past 7 years, right here in the Port of Baltimore, is your retailers have set up an enormous amount of distribution, fulfillment, sorting warehouses. Amazon set up about 5 right in this area around the port. We've got Wayfair coming, they're breaking ground soon. Home Depot, we've got, of course, we've got Under Armour, but we have all of these retailers that are putting it. So we have a local market here. So the ships come into Baltimore, you unload those ships. They go on the trucks, they go to those distribution centers. And what we learned during COVID is that consumers really kicked up their e-commerce. And we're set up in such a way that the containers come off the ship, they go to the distribution, sorting, fulfillment, or warehouse, and they can go 2 ways from there. They can go to the brick and mortar store, which was closed for a significant period of time during COVID, or they can go direct to consumer. And we had a lot of direct to consumer that's going on. So I consider ourselves, we are the e-commerce port on the East Coast. We have more e-commerce coming in here than any other port. Now, on the second side that you want to talk about is the Port of Baltimore is the #1, the largest importer and exporter of automobiles in the United States of America. And that's also Ro-Ro. So when you take a look at the exports that come out of Baltimore, it's Case New Holland, it's John Deere, it's Caterpillar. And when those trains come in the morning and you see those things coming into the port, it's a wonderful sight. So we do export from Baltimore as well.
Mr. Doyle, I appreciate that shout out. You're looking good, my man. You are a fashionable man yourself, so you do know fashion. But you also know what you're doing there in Baltimore, because President Biden, he used the Port of Baltimore as an example of how ports should work. And we know the ports in Los Angeles and also in Long Beach, they have 80 ships parked at sea. We've all seen the drone shots of that. And those ships are just waiting to dock. So how have you avoided what we're seeing in L.A.?
We have good management here. We have a great state. We are supported by the governor, the legislature. We are supported by the private sector, and we are supported by an excellent staff that I have at the Maryland Port Administration, Port of Baltimore. So we work day and night. We get the ships in and out. Ports America is a great manager. Ports America Chesapeake is the preeminent, the premier operator of ports in the United States of America, and we're so happy to have them here in Baltimore. So we work hard to make things happen. We don't have any ships at anchor anywhere. So the ships come in, they come in through the Chesapeake, come up and into the port, and we work them and get them done.
Mr. Doyle, one other thing, we talk so much about the truck driver shortage that has been contributing to some of these supply chain issues. This infrastructure addresses bringing the age down, that a truck driver could be 21, can actually go down to 18. Why is that such a critical step?
Look, for years, we've been trying to get this thing changed. You know, you got kids going to the military. They drive trucks for the military. They come home. They can't get a job in the trucking industry, and they were just overseas in a war. So that critical age of 18 years old, some kid might not want to go to college. He might want to try something else. And the trucking has always been removed from the equation. And the supply chain is only as strong as its weakest link.
Well, Mr. Doyle, we appreciate you, your information, your energy, and Strahan appreciates the shout out, I assure you as well. Mr.
Absolutely.
Bill Doyle, Executive Director of the Maryland Port Administration. We will see you again, all right, and check in during the holidays, all right?
All right, thank you very much. We'll do that.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.